Welcome to the new Music Room 1. This great space, which is, I think if I remember right, it's 18 by 28 feet. And this is the biggest room we've ever built. It's, well, approximately 4 feet longer than the new Music Room 2. And it is 2 feet wider than the new Music Room 2. So Music Room 1 is going to be our big daddy of a room. And this is the room that we're building where we will design the new PS Audio loudspeakers. It's also the room that when we get the new AN1s, which are these massive 700-pound, 7.5-foot tall towers, finally finished, they will live here in kind of probably out about here. They're single towers. They've got, just like the Infinity IRS 5 that's next door in Music Room 2, or that will be next door in Music Room 2, they have the same sort of driver complement. They'll have 6 12-inch woofers for each side, about 4,200 watts of servo-controlled woofer power on each side. But instead of separate towers like you have in the IRS 5, where you have the big wings and you have the separate woofer towers, these will all be integrated. And we did that because we know so much more today about how to build speakers than they did back in 1985. And Arnie Nudell, who unfortunately passed away, but the founder of Infinity and my partner for many years, and certainly a dear, dear friend. He and I have been conspiring on building loudspeakers and making a new line that will supersede everything he's ever done. And these speakers will be the culmination of all his work. We'll have a line of 3 of them, the AN1, the AN2, and the AN3. And the AN1, it's going to be everything that's ever known by Arnie, and then some into one speaker. And it's going to be stupid expensive. Someone said, oh, I see, it's just going to be the cartels and people. I mean, you're talking 50, 60, 70,000. I don't know. Here's what I can tell you. The packing crates for these things are likely going to cost more than the entire build cost of the AN3. They'll all look very similar. They you know, baby bear, mama bear, papa bear sort of thing. So the AN1s are going to be 7.5 feet tall. I'm guessing 700 pounds. They'll be on wheels. I mean, these massive beasts, line source of tweeters and AMT mid-ranges and mid-bass couplers and it's going to be a killer. And maybe we only sell, a pair a month of those. That's okay, right? We're not really, this is not a commercial venture where we're counting on sales of AN1s, to rich guys that can afford a $70,000 pair of loudspeakers, or whatever they wind up costing. I don't really care. We're just going to build the best thing that we know how to make and that Arnie knew how to make. And, given the limited number of production units, see how it comes out. The AN2, now that'll be something that is quite a bit more affordable. I mean, considerably, like 3 times less money. And it will be about as close as you could get in any kind of practical sense to these massive AN1s. There's something people could afford. And then an entry-level AN3. So all of those will be designed in this new room. And where the camera is sitting right now, in this area, and this is why we made this whole thing so long, we will have Arnie's original reference system set up in all its glory. And this is a system Arnie worked probably 15 years on, tuning and getting it perfected, and it's what we're basing our designs on. So we'll have Arnie's reference over here. We can get our seats up, crank up the sound, give a listen and say, it's exactly what Arnie wanted. We know how it sounds. If we need to, we go next door, right through here. We've got the IRS 5 as our reference, which, was Arnie's finest work at Infinity anyway, and one of the best loudspeaker systems in the world. And between those two, we'll know exactly what's possible in speakers, and then we turn around and whatever we're working on, whether it's the entry-level AN3 or the holy crapoly AN1s, we can compare measurements, sonics, and this will be the room where that happens. In the video I just did a little while ago on Music Room 2, where the IRS 5s are going to be housed, the new Music Room 2, I said I would talk about electrical wiring, and we will. So, like Music Room 2, these are sconces that are just going in, and you can see they're simple wiring, nothing fancy. And then these are courtesy outlets that go all the way around the room. And they just circle. Now, courtesy outlets, vacuum cleaners, record washing devices, anything that we're not too concerned with when it comes to listening and to sound. But where sound is concerned, we want dedicated lines, and not just dedicated lines, but properly built dedicated lines. So in each of these rooms, we have a special, and it's not, you won't see it yet. In the next video, I'll show it to you. We're using 6 separate home runs of 10 gauge wire to 6 separate circuits per room. So a total of 12 circuits, 6 for each room. And that should be enough to cover all the equipment, like the power plants and the BHKs and whatever we're going to be using for sources and all that, because power is so important. Even though we hook up our regenerators and we do as good or better than anybody else in the industry when it comes to power, it still is dependent on the cleanliness of the source, and not just the power, but the ground. You want separate grounds that aren't shared. See how these, can you see these? See these long wires over here? All these run together. They're in series. It goes over here, and it comes out, and it goes over here, and it comes out, right? This is all on one circuit. So whatever we plug into these are shared. So the power, the grounds, the noise, everything that we don't want on the AC is here, because these are standard courtesy outlets like you have in your home. This is what you have in your home. This is the way it's wired. And so, you know, mom might have the washing machine over here and the dishwasher going over here, and you've got your stereo system on the same line, and all that motor noise is going into the grounds, and it's all being shared. Not a great situation. So we run dedicated lines. So each one is a home run all the way back to the circuit breaker box, and each one has its own circuit breaker. So that's what a dedicated line is, and each of these rooms has 6 completely separate 10 gauge for low resistance, and speaking of 10 gauge, sorry, the electricians are like, you know, you can run a rocket ship on it. Yeah, I know. And we're not doing it because we're sucking so much current. We're doing it because we want the low DC resistance of that heavy gauge wire, because that will give us the least amount of resistance and the best sound quality we possibly can. And while we'd like to go to 8 gauge or 6 gauge, we can't because it won't fit into a receptacle. 10 gauge is the most practical amount of wiring that you can have. So anyway, very shortly, these will go up, they'll become the ceiling joists, we'll put the cans in, then double sheetrock everything, insulation. I will see you back for those videos quite shortly. Thanks for watching us put up Music Room 1. Thanks.